Excellent. Right, let's get rid of this and pop this up. Okay, so I'm going to be demoing the OOS crew module today. This is a web-based application. I'm also going to be showing you onboard for the crewing module as well, and talking you through the crew app. So we have an application that the crew can log into, and I'll show you what they can see and what they can do in that app as well. So before we get down to the crewing, I just wanted to show our Fleet 360. This shows us where all of the vessels are. They take this from information from noon reporting. Let's just go down to the Ben Nevis, which is the vessel that I'm going to be using in our demo environment. Just for GDPR reasons, to note that this is all dummy data, and the crew have all been made up apart from myself. And I've given permission for my details to be in the system anyway. So we can see the Ben Nevis. We've got some information just based on sort of where the vessel is. If we just scroll down here, we can see the itinerary on where the vessel's headed, and we've got next port information, cargo operations, etc. Down here we have a list of the crew, and if we just scroll down, you can see the full crew list in rank order. We can also go into this little blue section here for more, and that would basically take us to the full entire crew list. So that is Fleet 360. Another little thing just to discuss is on radar. So this is alerts and tasks that are being generated, either manually or auto-generated, depending on what they're for. If we just go into alerts, I can show you that we have some alerts for various vessels. If you can use your filters up here. So let's just go into the one to apply for my fleet, which you can set up. So I can see I've got two alerts here for the Ben Nevis. One is a high priority, another is the critical one. This is a business critical defect recorded from the main engine, and this is a second officer medivac. So I'm just going to focus on the one for crewing. So we just click on here, and I can see that the second officer needs urgent medivac attention, and there is a checklist that has been put into the details of the alert. I can also see that it's been created by myself, and that I've also got the captain and as a signee as well. You can see when it was created and last updated, etc. On this section here, we've got messages, and this little section will show that highlight that we've got two that I haven't seen or read. And this is just between me and the captain on board about what's happened and the sort of history of the messages. To do a message to the captain, you could just write here, and let's just say it's now be closed. And then that message will instantly go to the onboard section in the alerts as well. And once we get to the onboard section, I can show you this message and how the captain receives it. If we also click on the history here, you can basically see the entire history of this alert, when it was created and any updates that were had along the way. You can also mark it as closed. So that's what I've asked the captain. And let's wait and see what he replies to me. And then you would just click this button as mark as closed. Up here, you've got your little kebab menu. If you just click on that, you can edit the tasks, or edit the alert, or delete the alert, or create a new task from this alert as well. But we're going to leave this one for now until we hear back from the captain. If we then go into tasks, you can see all the tasks that are generated Again, these can be auto-generated or manually put in. I can see that there I've got some crew nearing end of contracts, so it'll let me know about that. I can see here that they've got a change of port from Singapore to Port Klang, and that had planned crew activity on board. And so it's just highlighting to let you know in case you want to make any changes to the flights, etc. And any crew changes that have been completed and evaluations that are due for review, and whether people are coming up for end of contract and that there is an evaluation due as well. So there's various tasks that are built into the system to let you know about things that you need to action. Again, at the top, you've got some various filters as well. And here you could create a task manually. Okay. So I'm just now going to go on to the crewing module. So if we pick crew here, I'm going to start off with crew applicants, as that seems like the first thing that you would do. So here we have all of our applications in the system. Again, you've got some filtering at the top here to select from. And if you wanted to add a new applicant, all you do is click Create Person, Crew Applicant, and then you have to put in some mandatory fields. So let's do that. We're going to have enter a captain in under a bulk carrier vessel, family name. We can put in some given names, and you have to put the date of birth. You can use the calendar by going back and forth, or you can just start writing in the day. So let's say that he was born the 1st of January, year 2000. It will find that date for you so that you can select from. It will not let you put in anyone under the age of 16 if it's for a crew applicant. So if we just continue, that has automatically generated a draft application and it's a work in progress. Each time you want to change something, you can just say, for example, I was going to add in a middle name of James. Immediately it comes up as a saved draft. So if you just save as you go onto each section, it will tell you that you've been successfully updated. Anything with a red asterisk is mandatory and that information needs to be put into the system. Anything without one, it will save without that information. And you can process it without that information. You just have to put in some company information. So for this demo, it's 90 POE and the cell would be the demo environment. You put in here the status and his expected availability date. That is not mandatory, so it does not need to be put in at this moment, but it is mandatory to willing to work in a war zone, yes or no. Some contact information is needed. Just put in my details here, country. And here you can put in your home airport. And basically, once that's in the system, if you're using the travel module, it will automatically know that that's your home airport and will try and direct the travel either to or from there. Here you've got some background information. The things that you've put in the original application page will flow through, so his date of birth is already here. Here we put in primary nationality, which is mandatory, and it will auto-populate the field for country of hire. Most of the time, that's because they're going to be exactly the same, but you might have a Indian national, for example, who is hired from the United Kingdom, and therefore they would need to be different. But the majority of the cases is that they would be the same. There's a space here for secondary nationality, but it's not mandatory, and so on and so forth until you come down to the next section, which is physical. It makes you pick whether the applicant is male or female, and you can put some information in here that's useful for when they're on board, so boiler suit size, blood type, etc. And then you've got a next of kin section where you can put in all of that information. You can use the same address as the seafarer. If it's a different address, you can use a new address. And you can just provide all of that information. And then there's a section here for family members. Again, pretty simple. You just click on the plus button and you put in some various information there, and then you can add the family member. And each time you do this, you can save the application. If we come into contracts, this is previous sea service for the seafarer. So you just click plus and you can put in the various mandatory fields, name of the vessel type, rank on board, etc. Sign on and sign off, and this will correlate all of their sea service from previous experience. You can, if you would like to put in some vessel information and any reference material as well. And all you do is you pick the add previous experience and it will go in. And let's just do that to show you. So the vessel name was the Rocky Balboa. What did I set this captain as? It was a bulk carrier, wasn't it? Yep. So rank on board was captain. I'm going to put in just the mandatory information. I'm going to say that he was on board from the 2nd of March 2022. And he came off on the 15th of July 2022 as well. Okay. I'm not going to put it in this information because I'm just trying to show you for the demo purposes. So just add previous experience and then it would automatically come in here as well. And you can keep going and going and going until you've got all of the sea service in the system. Here you've got options to edit and delete the sea service that you've put in case you've made a mistake. And all the edit button does is take you straight back to this page to fill out and correct. In the Documents tab, you can just add all of the documents as you see fit. Again, it's just a click button. You can drag in the scans and you can say whether the document is verified or not. And just the blue button at the bottom to put it in. This goes for main documents, passports, national IDs, visas, seamen's books, licenses, certificates, and medicals as well. We then have the next tab of application notes, and this is some just generic information upon the applicant. So how did the applicant find the position? These can be configured, so you can have your own sort of template if wished. Why did the applicant apply? And does the applicant know any company seafarers? And if they do, then you can just put down that the crewman known to the applicant, you can search for them, and the crewman's relationship to that applicant. Again, any changes you can save down here. And then finally, the remarks section of the application, you can just add a remark here and enter any remarks. You can also upload any scans and you can pin this remark as a planning note as well, which means that once this applicant goes into the crew directory and into the crew pool, you would be able to see any of these pinned notes when you were assigning that seafarer to a vessel. So you can pin them or you can just leave them as is. For an applicant, the remark type will always be for an application. Once they move into the crew directory, I'll show you what the remark types that you can choose from and that can be configured. Again, you can search the remarks here and you can edit and delete them once they're in here as well. Here you can edit and click here. You can just drag in a photo. Supported formats are shown here too. So you can just click on add profile picture, drag it in, and then that will be uploaded here too. Here you can see a submit for approval button down below, and this is totally configurable by the customer and it can go through a workflow based upon your needs. So if you have two separate departments that you want the application to go through for approval, that can be configured, and once you submit that button, it goes off into the workflow. Once it's been fully approved into the workflow, it would then flow into the crew directory. But I just want to go through back to the applicant so you can see that one has been already submitted. So let's just have a look at this. So you can progress it to the next applicant, to progress it to the next department for approval. And it can always be rejected at this stage too, depending on the approval workflow. If somebody midway wants to reject it, it will still carry on through the flow. And you can skip and approve. So if you had a super user, you can add in that you want to skip all of the approval workflow and just approve the applicant straight off. So this applicant, you can see, requires review because it's going through the workflow. And just to go back here to have a look at the pending approval, we'll go to John Smith. You can see that he's got a pending approval, and that's because it's the last one. So you can see that the application has gone well, and you can see that the progression as well in the remarks section. Once the final approval has been submitted, they will flow through to the crew directory. All of the information that you have supplied into the application, along with all of the contracts and the documents and remarks, will flow through to the crew directory as well. So this is the crew directory. This is your entire pool of crew all in one place. You can see again at the top, for continuity, we have all of our filters that we can pick from and apply. Say, for example, I wanted to look at just captains. Here you would have your drop downs of your ranks configured in how they are set up for you. I can pick captain and I can just click apply. And say, for example, I wanted to see all the captains that were at home, so I can do some planning on them. I would apply that too. And it automatically brings up the person that has confirmed availability the longest, that has been waiting the longest. You can see the list of crew here. Anything that is highlighted in this blue color means that it will go directly to that crew profile. So if I selected that person, it takes me straight to their page. Let's just do this. So you can see it goes directly there, date of birth, vessel type, years in rank, which is configured from all of their previous sea services as well, previous assignments and the sign-off date, their confirmed availability, and whether they're at home, assigned to a vessel, or on board. You can see here there are pinned planning remarks as well on some of these to show you. You can either save this filter so that every time that you come into the system, it would be those filters, or you can just clear it all and it will take you back to the full pool. Here you can see this person has had a recommended for promotion on board as well, with a little thumbs up. So that also shows up for you. Each one you can go in and just see a little bit more information about them. But for this demo, we are going to use myself as I'm set up in the system. So there I am. There's my little picture that's come through. So I can see that I'm at home. I'm a captain on a container vessel, and my expected availability is the 29th of March. And I've got all the same tabs that you would have in an application with a few extra. So the extra ones are the training, evaluations, and payrolls. So I'm just going to talk through the summary first of all. This is just some pulled information from the tabs up here, just for a summary basis. So you can see my crew details, my expected availability. Here's my home airport as well. This is just a summary of the most important documents with green ticks across the board, which basically shows that my main documents are all in order. My sea service, so we've got years at sea, years on vessel type, years with operator, years in rank, etc. And it will show assignments. So if I was assigned to a vessel, it would show here and which vessel, and it also shows any previous assignment that you were last on, and the sign-off date for that as well. Here you've got the education information that's pulled through from the application, the physical as well, and any remarks down here that are pinned. And here, just at the bottom, you can also see the applicant workflow approval. I was basically skipped along, but otherwise it would show you that this had all been approved. So if we go into personal, you can see my basic information. If I've made a mistake in the application, you can always edit functionality on the right hand side here. So we've got basic information, our company information. We have our status and availability. This expected availability date is pulled through based on rank and leave duration periods. However, the confirmed availability date is whether that seafarer is confirmed or not. So this is when he's supposed to be back, but you can add in when they are actually confirmed. Again, you just edit and you can put in a date. You can't change the one that's at the expected because that's based upon leave periods, but you can add in a confirmed availability date. Here it's all pulling through from the application. And this section is not in the applicants. This is for payment details, so bank details. You can just add it in with, if you click a plus. We have bank accounts and e-wallets that can be added. If you just want to add a new bank account, here is the information that you need. You just can drag in documents as well. And once you go through the entire process, you just can add the bank account here. Same for e-wallets, but you need a little less information for an e-wallet. It's not as complex. Here it will show you whether the account has been verified or not. And it will also show you who's created the bank details page and at what date, and then who has verified it as well. So if you wanted to split roles and responsibilities that way, it would show you here. Any background information can be put in here. If it's not been pulled through from the application because it wasn't inserted, again, you've got your edit functionality here. Physical, next of kin and family members. Again, you can add family members here and you can edit the next of kin. We have our contracts tab. So from the crew applicants, and we've put in some previous sea service. That sea service will always show as a grey icon here to show that that's experience prior to this company. You can also add previous experience here as well. Anything that's in blue will be sea time that you have correlated with the company that you're with, and that will always show as blue. You can go into each one of these just for a little bit more information. So it will tell you a timeline of when you signed off that previous voyage, when you had your confirmed availability date, your left home date, sign on, sign off, etc. So all of that information is stored there too. Here you can add your SEAs, your contract documents here for joining, for on board. They can all be put in there and downloaded as well. You can add in special leave into this section as well. So I've got a special leave here. It's from the 1st of June to the 15th of June. I need to be home for 14 days because it's my son's wedding. You can just add leave periods up here. You can have a reason and a drop down for those. Start date and end date, any remarks and any documents that you want to upload into that. And then you can just add the leave. And that will show here in a grey box to say that they've got a special form of leave. In the Documents tab here, you have a summary of all of your documents, and I can see that I've got nothing missing, nothing has expired or is expiring, everything has a scan, and nothing is awaiting verification. We can just go down through the documents with passports. Again, you have your edit delete functionality here and create a new one. Just click on it, fill out the information, drag in your scan, and again, if it's awaiting verification or if it's going in as verified, you just add and it will come in to this tab. All of the documents in this section are can be pre-configured to show what's required. So let me just take you to our document management here on the left-hand side. So we have a document directory. This is basically every single type of document and then you create all of the ones that are relevant for you. You can just create a document by clicking on what sort of tab it is under. So if it's a medical, we can put in it's a company medical. Here you've got your expiry warnings. So it's a notification will be shown a preset amount of months before the expiry date. And you can set that for being on board or for a seafarer not on board as well. You would just add your medical and it would come into here. Here you've got your default warnings. Set these so that they come up as a default. But any medical that or document that you can put in, you can override that as well if it's specific to just that particular document. So that's the document directory. Once everything is in there, then you can start setting up your required documents. So if we just go into this tab, we've got licenses, certificates, and medicals. If we wanted to add in a required document, you just click on the tab. Here your document type is set out by the three tabs. If it's a license, you select in, it will show you all of the licenses that you've put in as your document directory. If you wanted to pick one, let's do the chief mate here, for example, who it's required by. Is it required by company, flag, or STCW? And then who requires these documents. So if this was for the chief mate, you would say it's for the chief officer and or the senior chief officer. So as soon as you create a document up here, you can add an and or. So if we did chief mate or masters, so it will try to find one of them. So if we do that for the senior chief officer and the chief officer, it's looking for an and or requirement of either the chief mate's license or the master's license. You can say whether this applies to any specific vessel types, and if yes, then your vessel types that are configured in the system would show up here. If you wanted to apply this to crew on specific vessels, again, if you said yes, you would just go in here. All of your vessels would be configured in the system, and you could pick a vessel. And under here, it's with specific flags. So again, your flags would be configured in the system and they would appear here, and you could pick which flags it was specific to. Otherwise, you can just select no for all of those and continue. And then that will set up a required document in the system for you. Once you've got all your required documents in the system, then that's what would show as missing, expired, expiring without a scan and or awaiting verification. So once they've been configured in the requirements document management, they would automatically appear here, and if something was missing, it would show you. We have our documents tab and a separate training tab, and the way that we differentiate between the two is documents are any sort of documentation that is for sailing, required for sailing, and a training document is anything other than that. It could be mandatory from the company, and that's absolutely fine. We can set that up in a similar way in our training management as well, which is very much the same as a document management, but for the training documents. So here in our training directory, you add any training to your training directory. You can say here whether it's shore-based, vessel-based, or computer-based, and whether a scan is required or not. Again, you can set up your default expiry warnings here that will flow through to each document, but they can be changed as well at this point. Once you've got all of your trainings in your training directory, you go to your required training and then you can configure. So pretty similar to the document one, you put in your training name, who it's required by, flag, company, STCW again. Is the requirement mandatory or just recommended? So is the company saying that you definitely have to have it, or if it's just recommended? Again, you can pick who this requires, this training, by rank based on your configuration. And then you've got the same, well, the vessel types is the same. The specific vessels is the same to the document management. And then you've got, does this apply to specific nationalities, as a separate one here instead of the flag, which is in the document one. Again, like anything, you can just continue. And then once this is all set up in your requirements, that will show in the directory too. So let's just go back to me. You can see in my training, I've got a big red triangle here, and that is showing me that I've got something that's missing. So I have a missing ship security officer certificate, and I need to put it into the system because it will automatically show, as it's a required training document, that it's missing. I can just add here. I can say that I completed it, where I completed it, the completion date. It will pull the validity period. You can put in your scan here, and you can also say whether it's a certificate that's awaiting verification or verified. The seafarers can upload from their app any documents, and they will automatically come into the system as awaiting verification. But anyone that you put in from shoreside, it will show as default by verified, but you could always change that if you wanted to. You can add any remarks and then just add the training. I'm not going to add this training in to the section just yet because I want to show you what it looks like on the Crew app when it's missing and how they can upload the certificate. So it shows you your mandatory that you've set out in the training management, and any recommended as well would be here. Okay, so just to go back to the document management to show you the third tab, which is missing documents. So if we select onto this, we can see all of the missing, expiring or expired documents here. You've got your filters at the top. So if you just wanted to see any licenses, you can apply that for crew on board, assigned or at home and available in the next 40 days. So let's have a look for licenses on board. We could then go through this list and check what's missing or what doesn't have a scan, etc. So all of those are listed out. You can again save your filters or clear them and have a look at what's missing and what's expiring or what has expired. And exactly the same for the training management as well. You've got your missing trainings up here. Again, you've got some filters at the top and it will show you what's expiring, what doesn't have a scan, and what's awaiting verification. And you can see if it's a missing, it will be a red with a missing. If it's a scan missing, etc. down the list. So back to my crew directory. So we have our evaluations tab, and evaluations can be carried out on board or shoreside. And once it's gone through the approval workflow, it will appear in the history of the evaluations for this particular seafarer. So you can see I was evaluated on the Ben Nevis. Here's my sign on and sign off, my service length, etc. And I left that vessel as an end of contract. If you just click in here, you can see the status of the evaluation, what date it was taken, and my average score. If I go into click on the evaluation, you can go through and see the entire evaluation as well, which will be in there. I will talk you through the evaluations in a bit more detail. But for now, this tab is just the history of the evaluations. So for remarks, like I said, in the application process, you can just put in application remarks at that stage. But here, once you're in the crew directory, you can add a remark, and you've got a list, a drop-down list that you can configure to have your remark types in there. You can add in a remark. You can add scans to this as needed, and you can also pin this as a planning note. So for anyone planning this seafarer, we can see any pinned remarks. I can see here I've got my pinned remark. I need to be back from the June the 1st for 2 weeks due to my son's wedding, which is what we've already had put into the contracts as well. You can search for remarks in case there are quite a few remarks in here. You've got your remark type, or you could just type something in it and it would find it. Payrolls. this is my any outstanding payrolls that I need to be applied to when I rejoin a vessel, or any deductions that need to be deducted from my next payroll as well can be added here. You can just add an outstanding deduction for me. And when I sign on to that vessel, when I sign on to any vessel next, this will show up for the captain to action. In my history tab of my payrolls, these are all of my payrolls that I have had while being with the company. If we go straight to view, you can see each individual payroll. And I will go through payroll in quite some detail further on in the demo. So this is my crew directory page with all of my information. And then in my crew directory, I've got every single person in my crew pool there too. So we've spoken about document management. We've spoken about training management as well. So I'm going to move on to manning requirements. So you've got your vessel requirements, you've got your list of your vessels, and you can go into each individual one. Here I'm going to go into the Ben Nevis. And we have our manning requirements. So we can put in our minimum safe manning as per our certificates. You just add in minimum safe manning, you type in the ranks, you add the ranks, and you can add it to minimum safe manning. Once you've got your minimum safe manning set up, you can move on to your company manning. So anything that's outside of minimum that you're looking as a company to apply, you can do you can do all ranks. So if it's just an ETO or an E1 or an E2 or E3 to be on board at any given time, you can add those. You can edit and delete function here as well. And just by adding, you just go to add company manning, put in your ranks, add them, and add to the company manning too. Here we have a section for supernumeraries. It will show you if there are any active supernumeraries on that vessel, any planned ones, or any previous. If we can have a look here, we've got previous, we've got riding squad and the dates that they were on. Again, you can edit and delete these. I'm just going to put one in as a supernumerary, and then I can show you what that looks on the on the crew list a bit later as well. So let's just put in, I need a fitter. Yep, can be any type and/or. I'm going to add those. I'm going to do a start date of, let's do today, because then it will show up as active. We only need them on board for a month, so we can pick that they're only going to be on board for the duration. And we can say the reason why. So I'm going to say that fitter is needed with a welding certificate for tasks. I can just add my supernumerary here. And because it's been put with the today's date, it would show in active. If I'd put tomorrow's date, it would show in planned as it's for tomorrow onwards. And then obviously once this is taken place, it would move into previous once it's expired. Again, you can just edit and delete if you want to. If they've extended to 2 months, you can just go in and edit that and change it. And here you've got our company matrices. But before I get to the company matrices, I just want to go back through for the manning requirements. So you've got your, apologies, you've got your vessel requirements, which is set up per vessel. You have your matrix requirements, which are out of the box requirements that you can set against your company matrices too. And you have things like years with operator, years in rank, years as OOW, vessel type, etc. So there's a list here. And then you can configure those to your company matrices. So you can just add a company matrix here, add it in, and it would add the company. It would show up like this. And under each company, you can go in and create the configuration. So if you just wanted to add a matrix requirement here, you can go in, pick from the list. So let's do years with operator. You can add a minimum requirement here. So 1 calendar year, and then you can add the ranks that applies to. And then you can just add matrix requirement here. And all of these can be edited and deleted as well on the side. So if there are any changes with the oil majors, you can just go in and select them. So here we've got quite a few set up for years with operator, first contract, numerical crew changes as well. So we've got a combined maximum of one captain and chief officer can be changed during a 14-day period, etc. And each one can be set up. And once they're all set up in your system, then you can go in and pick which ones you want for your vessel requirements. So here, where's my Ben Nevis gone? So I can just go in and see exactly what company matrices are actioned against this vessel. So I can see that the 90PO1, 90POE1 has been set up for this vessel and the BP one. If I wanted to add one or delete one or edit that, I could do that functionality here. But let's put in that I want to add one. You can pick the company from, let's add Shell here. You can pick a fixture start date. So if you know when the fixture's starting, put that down. And you can either leave this as an open-ended fixture, or you can, if you know the end date, you're more than welcome to put it in there. You then just add the company matrix, and it will either appear in active, planned, or previous. So Shell should appear as planned because I've put tomorrow's date. And then it would start actioning tomorrow for this vessel. So that's how you set up your company matrices in your manning requirements section here. Just going into the matrix requirements, I'm going to select the Ben Nevis. And this is a live database that is constantly working to check when and if you will be non-compliant against your matrix requirements for that vessel. You can pick a period of time here. It's set by a default, but you can go in and add them. So you can prolong it. You can do up until April. If you pick those dates, let's go back into today's date for that. Yep. And so it will continue, start looking. You can see here immediately I'm non-compliant because I have obviously got a crew change planned where the chief engineer and the first engineer are changing. So you can see when it's relevant to, and it will show you any non-compliance up here. And so you can keep going through and checking your non-compliance and making changes based on that. And so that's running constantly on all the changes that you're making in the system. So if you assign somebody, it will start checking and it will tell you when you'd be non-compliant as well. So it's looking at all those. Here we have crew planning, moving on. We can have a look at vessels, or we can search for seafarers to do their planning. We can do fleets and or ranks. So if you just wanted to have a look at captains and plan for your captains, you can do that here too. This is toggled onto my fleet only. You can set up your own fleets in the system. And this therefore only shows you the vessels that are within your fleet. If you toggle that off, it will show you all vessels. You can have this as a day, a month, or a year view. I prefer the year view because you can see exactly where your gaps are and where you're missing crew to be planned for. Here, the purple bars are the ports. So if the itinerary is known and in the system, it will show you the ports that are lined up and that you can plan accordingly. The further along you go, if there are no ports planned, then there won't be any purple lines across. The white sort of, I would call this an off grey colour, really, shows you who's on board. The blanks obviously show you where you're missing a seafarer, and the blue ones will tell you that those people are the ones that are lined up. So if we wanted to have a chief officer on vessels that are back to back, you could just go in and slot the last one previously and it would continue like that. And you could do that for the year. I'm just going to plan my captain for this vessel. So I'm going to plan my seafarer. I'm going to select to plan. and this will come up with your next assignment. So here it will show all the planned joining ports that you have. If you just click on it, it will show you. You can always do not at port. You can put in a provisional port call as well, or say that you don't know where this change will place. It's an unknown port for now. But I'm going to plan for Singapore, and it will put in a planned joining date based upon the vessel's arrival for that port. Again, in the background, it's continuously running your matrices and will tell you where you're non-compliant. And here it will show you planned joining dates, and then it would give an end of contract date based upon the configuration that you've put in the system for those particular ranks. You can do this by rank, nationality as well. So you can have different periods of onboard for different nationalities and ranks. So I'm going to just click on the next step. And this is the seafarer. This is who I need to choose. So it will show me my compliancy again. And here it will show me all of the crew that are available, because I have this one toggled on. And this is automatically set to default as well to be compliant to the matrices. If you want to see everybody, not just those that are available, you toggle it off. And again, with the company matrices, you can turn it off or on. I mean, I would advise that it's turned on. You can select by nationality and manning agent too here. You can also sort by, and there's various bits to choose from, but by default it's availability date, and therefore it would always show you the person at the top is compliant, is available, and they've been waiting the longest. So they've got their an older confirmed availability date. You've got years in rank as well, so you can see that here in any previous assignments. If you wanted to only have someone that has been on the Ben Nevis, you could then see that and pick that person. I am just going to choose myself. So I can't find myself in this list. I'm going to, probably because of my planned leaving period in June, and this would not make me home. Yes, see, I've got my planned special leave period here, which I can see, which is why I didn't show up in the available. It also tells me that I'm non-compliant for requirements from the 3rd of April too. So it's continuously working on that. However, I'm going to select myself anyway, and then I'm going to assign. And here I show up here. I can always click on myself or the seafarer. You can detach them from this slot as well. If you just select that, it will pull them straight out. You can see my joining information here. My leaving contract date has been auto applied based upon the configuration in the system. All my documents are good. I'm missing my ship security officer still. And it will show me my company matrices and where I'm falling short. And my planning notes. Son's wedding. Again, as long as you have this blue color, you can go in and it will take you directly to that page in your crew directory as well. But I'm happy for now that I am planned for this vessel, so I'm going to leave myself there. You can then keep planning and keep adding on for your longer term planning to see where your gaps are and any retention gaps that you basically need to go in and recruit for. Again, at the top here, we've got our little blue writing. So if we went into each section, it would take us directly to that section. So that is crew planning. Once we have done all of our crew planning and we've added in our slots, if we go to assignments and pick our vessel, the Ben Nevis here, you can immediately see here I am on the right hand side. So anyone on the left hand side is the crew on board, and it's a single vessel look. So you can see, you can sort this by the different variations. I always prefer it in rank order. So I've got all of these guys on board the vessel, and I'm looking at people's leaving dates and end of contract dates, and I'm trying to assign people on the right hand side, or through the crew planning, which we have just done. As soon as you add someone in the crew planning, they will appear here on the right hand side if there's a slot available. So if you've planned a back-to-back captain and you've planned him to relieve me after I've joined, as soon as I move from the right hand side to the left hand side when I'm signed on, this captain would automatically appear here in the right hand side as well, to show that he is replacing me at the time that you've specified in the crew planning. So here we have our next port of call and some information for the port information, and we've got our matrices constantly working here too and letting us know where we're non-compliant. We have our information here too, which is then configured in the manning with your total SOLAS capacity and your beds on board, etc. So that when you're doing your planning, you can have a look. Again, you've got some filters at the top as well. So I'm now all assigned. If we go down, you can see various sort of icons here. We have a look into each one. I can be unassigned here. You can do it from here as well as from the crew planning page. You can do sign on from here and sign off on an individual status. You can update the joining details here. It will show you documents with a view to the documents, training with a view to the training. It will show a join-in approval, so this can be activated in a workflow that's configured to your company. If you wanted ratings not to have an approval workflow, and then you just activate it and they would be approved. Otherwise, if it's for captains and you want them to go through various departments, that can be configured and you activate it here. And then you can see I've got one, because I've got 1 out of 3 that need to approve this joining. So if we go into view, you can see here, this is my joining approval in my crew directory page. Crew operator's done it. It's going to go to operations manager and QHSE department 2. So you can progress. As a super user, you can skip and approve assignment if needed. So I'm just going to do that for now. Once that has been done, if we go into our assignments page for the Ben Nevis, you can see that I'm now all approved to join. I still obviously have my missing training document that we've done that on purpose so we can see what it looks like in the crew app. But my joining approval has all been done. You can see my planning notes. I'm awaiting travel because I'll show you travel in the next, well, the one after next module. So you can unassign here, like I said. You can also, from this page, let's go down to this AB. So if you click on the bosun, you can promote. So if you click the promote button, it will look for the rank lower to the bosun and show those crew that you can promote from that are on board. If you just toggle to show all crew, it would show you all crew. So we're going to go with this particular AB. We're going to continue. He will be a bosun. And we're going to plan to promote him in April when we go to Singapore. So if I just click promote, what it will do is it will add him to the right hand side, as he is going to be promoted when we get to Singapore. He will also still show as an AB on the left hand side because he's on board as an AB currently. But it's just for the planning purposes, so you can see, yep, this AB is planned to be promoted to bosun, and the planned promotion date is the 3rd of April. Okay. So I'm going to now move on to Crew Change Manager. Here in the assignments page, you can do the crew change from this page, but I much prefer using the Crew Change Manager as a one-stop place for all of the crew change activities. I'm just going to go in and show you Crew Change Manager. So we, the system will correlate all of the crew changes by dates together. it will section out your promotions as a separate to the crew change, just so that you're completely aware. And what it does is you can see everyone that I've selected to join and leave in Singapore is connected together. And then if you just scroll down, you'll see that it correlates everybody with the same sort of leaving dates, etc., so that you can start planning your crew changes. If we just click on this crew change, it will have some basic vessel information. It will have port information. You can have a look at your port agents as well, and the details. It will have their email address in it too. So it will show me that I've got 8 leavers. It will show me that I've got 8 joiners as well. If, for example, this is a crew change where there is some handovers and some crew have already gone on board and no one has disembarked yet, it will show you that you have saved, for example, 4 joiners that joined. It will show you the 4 joiners are awaiting and that 4 joiners have joined, and it will just show you at the bottom here, and you just click on it and it will show you the guys that have joined. So it's a live update of what's happened in the crew change. Here you've got your parts that you can sort of deep dive into. Again, you've got your views where it will take you directly to that page that's linked. You've got your documents, your training, your matrix requirements, your planning notes, etc. This is where you would upload the contract documents, which I showed you where they're stored in the contracts tab in the crew directory. So you can just add the document here. You just scan it in, save it. It will save here, and then it will also save in the contracts tab there as well. Here you have an individual checklist for that particular seafarer. So we're on the captain that's leaving. We can go in and update a seafarer specific checklist. Anything that you put in, yes, all booked. Domestic. Once you click save, it will show that it's been completed by on the date, and it will be time stamped as well. That's just an individual checklist. You can do that for each seafarer. Here you can see the joining approvals as well. So once the joining approvals have been completed, they will show here. This section is the seafarer checklist as well. Documents, training and documents, etc., and any planned notes. If we go into the checklist here, this is the checklist for the crew change. So I used to be a crew operator, and when this was put into the system, I was ecstatic because it meant that all of my bits of paper that I was writing on, tea spilt all over it, could be discarded. I didn't need them anymore, and I could just go straight to this checklist and put in all of the information that I needed for this crew change. And if I was suddenly sick that day, in hospital for whatever reason, someone who's covering me could go in here and see exactly where I was within my crew change and know at what point I'm at. As soon as you go in and edit this checklist, which can be configured by the customer as well, you can go in and say and tick things that have been done. Again, it will show you who it's been completed by. It will give you the date and the time. So we're going to say, yep, the port agent has been selected. You can add remarks if you need to. You can hear the company clearances. I've put yes, approved, and then I can put the email, date and time and number. So that's good for auditing purposes. You can go back and check. Or it could be, yeah, an on radar was created, and this is the task number. And so you can have a look at your tasks that were associated with this company clearance as an approval through your company. Any changes that you make, you just save and it will update them. These, like I said, can be configured and you can just go through. Here you have a separate note section, and so anything that's outside of the checklist you can add here. Here I've put that the CTM has been arranged at Singapore at 0.4%. Again, you can see who it was created by, the date and time stamp. If you wanted to edit and delete that note, you could. If you wanted to add a new note, you just do that here. All the while along, you've got your complete crew change button here. I can't do this crew change because it's scheduled in the future, and the vessel hasn't arrived at port. And this is Crew Change Manager, which I think is a great asset to the crewing module. Okay, right, crew travel. So in my assignments page, I have for the Ben Nevis selected everybody that is joining in Singapore and everybody that is leaving. So once I go through to my travel, which I could do a link up here as well, which would take me directly to this vessel's travel. Here on my right hand side for continuation purposes and continuity, I've got all of my joiners, and on the left hand side is all of my leavers. I can see the dates here of when the vessel will be in Singapore. And if I wanted to request a travel that wasn't included in a crew change, for example, somebody had been signed off sick and had to go to the hospital in, I don't know, Amman, for example, and he was flown back later on, and we need to figure out his flights, but they're not through a crew change, you can request new travel here. You always have to select the vessel that it applies to, but it can be done outside of a crew change as well. So travel can be done that way. I'm just going to go in and do my travel so that I can show you what that looks like from the shoreside system, and also what it looks like from the travel agent's perspectives as well. So let's go into request the travel. It will correlate everybody with the same home airport. And this is for the joiners. I am just going to do my travel, so I'm going to click him. But you can have all of these people if they're all flying from the same home airport. You can have as many as you want to do. But for right now, I'm just going to put myself. So it will automatically pull through the home airport. You can change this if needed. If I wanted to fly from Gatwick, for example, I can do that under Gatwick, but I'm not going to. So it will go back to my default. The vessel is in Singapore, so you just start typing in the airport code, not SIN. All of the airports are in the system, and any changes can be, the airports can be added in there. So I'm just going to pick Changi Airport. Here you've got your vessel itinerary. So ETA, ETB, if it's specified, will show here, an ETD as well that's from the system. So I'm going to say that I want to arrive by the 3rd of April. Here you've got a sort of selection of whether you want it to be AM or PM. So I'm going to put both. It doesn't really matter to me. The vessel's arriving at 17:30. So ideally, it would be nice if I arrived PM. Here you can add any remarks that are relevant to the travel agent. So I'm going to put here 40 kg baggage needed. But you could write here any information that you think is relevant. So say, for example, you've got 10 joiners all flying from different home airports. You could put all joiners arriving around 1600. Please get to the nearest arrival to that time. Here you've got your default travel agents here, but otherwise, if there is more than one, you can just select from the drop down here and who you want the request to go to. So I'm going to pick request here, and immediately I can see that my quote has been requested. Now I'm going to go on to the OO Fly, and immediately I can see, oh, there's my request. So I can see quote requested immediately. Here I can just do a little plus, and it will just show me the traveler's details, the rank and the passport number, etc., email and phone number. But I can go into view this as I'm actively working on this one, and I can see that a quote has been requested. Again, if I just do this, it gives me more information. I can hover over here, but otherwise the information is static here too. I can add quotes in with my blue button. I would put in the PNR number, And here is where you would put in your GDS quick start link. So here's one I prepared earlier. In traditional Blue Peter state. So I put that there. As soon as I press to populate fields below, this information will be added into. So let's just do that. So you can see from the GDS string, it has populated all of that information in there. So the departure date, arrival, etc. From the GDS string. You can add in the RLOC and operated by, if we wanted to say that it was British Airways, we could do that there. Number of bags would have to be put, so I'm going to put 2 here, and I remember from the request it was 40 kg, so I'm going to put in 20 and 20. You can also toggle this from kg to pounds as well if needed. You can add legs to this if it's not part of the GDS string originally. You can add legs, but this is going from London to Singapore straight, so we don't need to do that. You can put in if this ticket is refundable, partial, or completely not refundable, but as this is a Siemens fare, we're going to say yes, it's refundable. We're going to put in a cancellation fee of $15 and an amendment fee of 10 as well. You could put any notes here that you wish the operator to be able to see. So SG arrival card needed for Singapore, for example. You could add that in there, and then you could just add in the fare details. So let's do 550, and we've got some tax on top of that. So it will tell you the total price. Here you can put in other additional charges if fare charges if needed. You can just add quote. Once that's happened, you get a big green tick over here to say that it's been created, and you can see that the quotes here. If you wanted to add more quotes, so for example, you wanted to give more options, 3 options, you would just do the same again, add in another GDS quick start, populate, add quote, and then you've got multiple quotes here. Once you've uploaded all of your quotes, I'm just going to do the one here for the demo purposes, but once you've uploaded all of your quotes, you can press submit quotes. And then again, you get a big green tick and it says that the quotes have been submitted. So I'm just going to go back to the shoreside system. I'm going to refresh. And immediately I can see that my agents have quoted. You can have more than one travel agent if that was selected in the quote selection. You would see multiple agents quoting if that's what you've selected. But right now I can see my default travel agent have quoted me. I can see the total price, cancellation if it's refundable or not, my amendment fee, the PNR number, and who it was quoted by. If I just go into my little plus again, I've got a bit more information. I can see the baggage here and the flight details, arrival times, etc. I can copy this information. It's just a copy of this. Here again, I can see the agent's remarks that the SG arrival card is needed for Singapore. And I can see who quoted and what date they quoted and what time. And it will have a reply time as well, which is really great for SLAs that you might have in place with your travel agents. As an operator, I can always amend this request or cancel this request, and that will automatically go back through to the travel agent. But I'm going to request this ticket because everything seems fine to me. So once I've requested, confirm, again, I get a big green tick at the corner. And let's go over to the travel agent. I'm just going to refresh. And you can see that it's been requested. I can add tickets here. You can add them in bulk. So for example, there was 9 seafarers all on this one PNR. You can add the tickets in bulk. But here I'm just going to go to add ticket, stick in the flight number, and I'm going to upload. And I just select my e-ticket, add e-ticket, big green tick. And once you've got all of your e-tickets in here, you can just confirm the tickets. Big green tick to say that they've been confirmed, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Let's refresh. I've now got a nice amber status to say that my ticket has been confirmed. If I click on the plus here, I've got my flight details, and my e-ticket is here, ready to be downloaded. There it is, gone into my downloads. For a seafarer using the Crew app, these details and e-tickets will be visible on the app as soon as they've been put into the system, and they can download them from the app too. I'm going to leave these tickets as they are so that you can see that when we go through on the app. So I'm now all great. I've got my tickets confirmed. I've got my e-tickets. If anything changes and there was a delay to the vessel, which, considering that this is in April and we've already booked the travel, is highly likely, I can always go in, amend my request or cancel my request. And again, this will reflect in OOFly as well. So I've got my flights. I've had my assignment. I've got my travel booked, and I'm going to now move on to the payroll tab. So under payroll, we've got our standard contracts, or CBAs, if you will, and they are created into the system. You can just click create, add in your standard contract name, the currency of that standard contract. It will always allow it as a draft at the moment, and then you can update it and change it to active. Here you've got your working day count. So you've got a full month, which is 30 days. A partial month runs until the last calendar day of the month. Up to 30 days, which is a full month, is always 30 days, and a partial month runs to the 30th. And calendar days, and that's a full month, is based on the number of calendar days in it. And a partial month runs until the last calendar day of that month. Is this seniority based CBA or not? If it's not, you just click no. If it's yes, you can put in the details for that 1 to 5 years, 5 to 10, etc., etc. Here you can put your clients and yourselves in for which contract this applies to. And you can pick your nationalities that it applies to too. Here you pick your vessel types as well. If it's only specific to a certain amount of vessels, then you can put yes, it's only applicable, and then you just click search and it will start searching them based upon the information. So once you've sort of created your standard contracts, if you go into the standard contract calculation, this is the rows that would appear in your standard contracts. So each one, you can do a sorting list. So basically it's which one comes and is visible first. Normally that's always basic wage. So we've got that as a 10, and then it goes down in the sorting order. If you just want to create a new standard contract calculation, you just put in the name. You've got your calculation logic. So we've got manual days day, manual hours hour, monthly day, rejoining month, sign off travel and sign on travel. Those are the logics in there. Again, you just put your sorting. So if you want it at the very first column, you put in 5 here now, which would go before basic wage. You add your allotment frequency. So is it monthly or is it only given at the end of the contract? And you can link it to an account code here. So all of your account codes can be put into the system, and then you can link each standard contract calculation to a different account code if that is required. Here you can see they're all set up. I've got my names, I've got my calculation logic, I've got a sorting order. Each one can be done to a different allotment frequency. So most of these are monthly, and you've just got this leave pay that's paid at the end of the contract. And you can do all of your account codes. You can edit these and create new ones as you see fit. So once you've got your standard contract into the system, you can just go in to each one, click on each one of them, and you can see I've got various versions of this, but let me just go into the wage scale and show you. So you can see from the sorting order of the standard contract calculations that this is the CBA now. For a new one, you would just go in and edit this and add in all of the amounts into each individual column. And once that has been set up with all of your ranks in place, you basically have that contract, and it will start calculating the payroll based upon the contract that they're on and the rank that they are. So once this is all set up, you've got your standard contracts. Your standard contract calculations have gone into those. You can then set them to active so that they're up and running. And we'd go to payroll ownership. So here you basically create who owns payroll. Here you also select how you want slop chest to be run. Is it for an average cost or is it FIFO? And here you can select between the two. You can select the starting month of when you want payroll to start running by, and the ownership can either be set to the vessel or the office. So it depends on who you want to run payroll. If it's run on board by the captain, the ownership would be the vessel, and they get to do all of the additional earning types and deduction types, and they get to submit the payroll. If it's the ownership of the office, they would do absolutely everything from the office side. So that's completely up to you. Once you click create contracts, then payroll will start running. Here we've got additional earning types. These are all to be configured. You just create them. Again, you've got a sorting list. You can decide who the owner is. Is it office, vessel, or all? Again, you can link each one to an account code. So if you had an additional earning type that you only wanted the office to apply to, you would just put that as office and add the account code as well and save them. Once they're all in here, you could move on to your deduction types. Again, exactly the same setup. You can sort them by order, have the owner as vessel, office, or all, and add your account codes too. Moving on to the master's cash types. So this is the master's general accounts. Again, you can just create new types. So this will be basically an expense or an income type. You add in your description, a sorting order, and again, your account codes. These ones at the bottom here are all the ones that are already out of the box in the system. So cash to masters already configured inside the system. You can just link an account code to it. Here we've got our contribution schemes, and this is basically anything that a seafarer has to pay out of their wages based upon their contribution scheme. So we've got this one set up for Filipinos, which has already been configured in the system. Any contribution schemes that are specific to your company would need to be discussed and see if they could be configured. But here we've got ones for the Filipinos for Philly Health and SSS, etc. Again, you can create them based upon seafarer, if it's a contributor of seafarer employer, and what nationalities and ranks it's applicable to. Does it deduct from payroll? Is it for specific flags only? And you can also link them to account codes. And talking of account codes, here we've got the external account codes. This is where you manage them all. You can edit them, you can add new ones, etc. Got a nifty little new feature coming soon, which is the digital contracts and the contract templates. I'm not going to show that because it's not set up in the system yet, but if you do need a demo on that anytime soon, then let us know and we can arrange that. So those are all the tabs under the standard contracts. Once all of that is done and configured, we can start seeing crew payroll. So again, I've got my fleets on, but if I took it off, I could see all of the payrolls that are active. But let's just have a look at the Ben Nevis for now. I can see from this, my vessel list, the MGA, what the status is, the payroll status, how many are open, how many have been submitted, and how many are closed. If I want to go in to this view, I can see here, you can see this is for February. But if you click on the calendar, you can go back and have a look at the previous payrolls too. So it will show you. But let's go to February. So you can select view. And this is the payroll view. Now, the owner of this payroll is the vessel. So when I go on to the onboard system, I'll be able to show you a little bit better about how it all works and runs. But here, you can see all of the crew on board. and their payroll actively running. You can see how many days that they've worked. It will always calculate it up to your working day count that you've set up, unless there is a promotion on board or they are due to sign off. Once they've signed off, here you can see he was on board for 14 days and it will calculate his salary for those 14 days. You can see this payroll's already been submitted, but the rest of them are all open. Once a seafarer has been assigned, they automatically show up in payroll. Here you've got your contract terms. So this is the CBA and the revision. It will, as soon as a seafarer is signed onto the vessel, it will look for their rank, nationality, and vessel type, and then try to assign them a relevant CBA. If there is any confusion or there might be one or more that you could choose from, the system would ask you, it would have a red triangle and it would ask you to pick the correct CBA, which can be done. But once the CBA is done, it starts calculating based upon your standard contract calculations in the system. Here you've got the payroll for each crew member that you go into. You can see their wages, any activities, additional earnings, deductions, and their bank accounts as well, which can be allotted to. But obviously, if I try to edit anything here for right now, it will show me I can't do that because the owner of this payroll is the vessel. Again, any attachments can be added. You've got a little sort of balance score up here too. Any outstanding payrolls I explained earlier on in the crew directory, any outstanding additions or deductions would show up here. Again, it would have a triangle to alert the captain to make an action upon this outstanding amount that needs to be added to payroll. You've got your travel expenses, or what I sometimes also hear called is the joining expenses. These can be added here by on board. I can show you that a bit later as well. And once they've been uploaded into the system, they can then just be added straight to payroll. And we've already spoken about the contract terms here too. You can download statement of earnings here. You just click on the statement of earnings, downloaded. And this is what the statement of earning looks like. It will tell you the statement of earning for the particular month, the vessel, it will show you the contract type, the revision, and it will give you your contract terms, any deductions, and any allotments that are made as well. So that is the payroll from the office. You've got masters, cash, slot test, and representation, but I would rather show you that in the onboard system so that we can see what that looks like. Here we've got evaluation templates. So these are configured by yourself and are put into the system. You have your templates. You can have as many templates as you wish put here. And each template, that's just template, will have a scoring. All the templates are configurable by yourselves. You can add remarks, etc. All the instructions would be here once they've been set up. This type of evaluation should be formed for all crew. And again, your instructions are configurable. You can just put in on board when they do the evaluation, you can just put in the scores and any remarks. And then you've got some knowledge of English or whatever your template has. You can also upload some documents, but I'll show you the evaluations from the onboard as well. And here you've got your criteria. So each section in the template has its own criteria, and that's managed here too. So once all your templates and your criteria are in the system, you can then start doing evaluations for the seafarers. Right, that is my crew module shoreside. So I'm going to move to onboard now. So this is I'm just going to get rid of some tabs. This is my onboard. I am logged in as a captain, as you can see here. I have the similar tabs on my left-hand side that shoreside do. Again, I've got my on radar. Let's just go to alerts and see if we've got our Medivac. Yep, you can see I've got one awaiting message that we put in earlier. I can just open that up, go to my messages and see, Captain, can this now be closed? And I'm going to go back and say yes. I will mark as closed. And then that will go to Shoreside, and we can mark this as closed. Issue resolved, and the reason officer was medivac. Was taken off. I can OK this, and the status has been updated and it has been closed. It's going to have been removed from open and put into the closed section here for my alerts. There it is in my closed. Again, the same for the tasks. So the tasks that come in for the vessel are mostly about nearing the end of contract and for evaluation dates as well. So that's just how the on radar looks on board. Here we've got our crew module. So if we just go on to crew, we can see that we can see the crew list. I can see the captain on board. He's planned to leave. I can see that the joiner that we've already assigned is myself, and I can see that I'm due to join in Singapore. I can see a big green circle around my little plane, and immediately when I hover over it, I can see that my ticket has been confirmed. Like on Shoreside, if you just skip down to dive deeper into that person, you can see some experience, some key documents all ticked, just like on Shoreside. And you can see my travel details here. So you are unable to download the e-tickets from on board, but the crew can do that from the crew app, which I'll show you in a bit. But you've got the basic information of PNR and the flight details here. So this is your crew list, and you can see end of contracts will be expiring soon, but we've got a replacement. Although why on earth this crew operator is deciding to change captain, chief officer and second officer all at the same time, I have no idea. And the chief engineer and second engineer as well. Lovely. But yeah, so going through, you can see everybody, and that's the crew list that the captain can see. You can see here as well the planned promotion that we've put in earlier. So we can see our AB here. He's going to be replaced by Goodwin. And then once he's replaced and joined the vessel, this guy will be planned promotion for the bosun. You can do sign on, sign off and promote from on board too when the time comes. That's been put into the system from Shoreside. So when the vessel gets into Singapore, you'd be able to do single sign on and sign off. You can also do crew change, the crew change up here too. If we just go into a crew profile, it looks very similar to the one in the crew directory Shoreside, apart from you've got a few less tabs up here. For those that are on board, you will automatically have their evaluations and personal objectives at the top here. For all other joiners, you will only see the summary, travel, documents and training. Once they've joined, they get the extra 2 tabs on their profile. I can just show you this by going into myself. You see, I only have those four tabs. But let's go into the captain. So like we do in Shoreside, we have our summary details. So we've got our crew details. It's a slightly less version, more condensed. You've got your assignment here and your service summary as well. Here you've got the travel section and it shows awaiting travel. If I went into myself, into the travel, it would show the tickets confirmed and all of the details there. Documents, again, just like Shoreside, it will show you. This is all configured from Shoreside, so it will show you the passports, the visas, and everything else that's in Shoreside. You can see the scans here, and there's an edit and delete function on the right-hand side too. Here we've got our training documents, and again, exactly the same thing. It will show any mandatory documents, it will show any recommended documents, it will show whether they're missing, expired, expiring, no scan and awaiting verification. They can be added, edited and deleted as well. This shows that my vessel does not have internet connection at the moment, so changes are limited. So that's why these are grayed out. The sinks happen. So if a vessel doesn't have internet connection, once internet connection has been re-established, it will sink to shoreside and make the changes once it's synced back. We have our evaluations tab here. So if I wanted to do an evaluation for a particular crew member, I can just go to their evaluations tab. Let me pick a crew member that's not the captain. Let's do third officer, for example. I can, oh, yeah, which one? This one. I can, before I do evaluations, I can add personal objectives. And the evaluations is the template that Shoreside have got in the system. Personal objectives can be created on board, and they are specific to that rank. So we have 2 third officers on board. This is the evaluation for this third officer. You can just put in the title of whatever personal objective you would like to make for this person. So I can put in shadow second officer, and then in the description I could say third officer is due for promotion to shadow second officer to see ability. You can just confirm that. Once that's added into his personal objectives, you could have as many as you want. You could just keep adding them. You can edit and delete the functionality here too. Once you go into evaluations and you add an evaluation in for that seafarer, you get to pick your evaluation date, the evaluation type. So that depends on how many templates you've got in. This time it's for a seafarer evaluation. And we have the ability to be able to do a self-assessment for each crew member can go in, log into the system and do their own evaluation of themselves. It's exactly the same template if that's what you wish. And you can decide to add that evaluation into the evaluation that you're doing. So do we want to add self-assessment into this? Yes, we can, or no, if we don't want to. For the demo purposes, I'm going to say no for now. We're going to add, and this will be our template. And so you can go in and start putting down things that you want to do, the remarks that you've got. Again, this doesn't have to be 1 to 10. It's completely configurable to yourselves. You can add in remarks. Gold star. This. Third officer. You can go into add, and then that remark will be there as well. Once you've filled out the entire, that's a bit mean for watchkeeping, isn't it? Let's give them a 9. It will start to average out the blocks as well. So the scores, it will start to average out. Knowledge of English. And then here you can see your personal objectives have flown through too. So this is shadow second officer. We're going to say, yep, he was good. Again, you've got your training needs, any recommended or required training or none. You can add in some remarks here. And we've got the recommendations section, which is, can they be promoted? Are they recommended for promotion? Write in any marks. And are they recommended for reemployment? Yes or no, or not applicable. You can add in attachments here. So I guess if you were saving the self-assessment or using the self-assessment as this, you could upload the seafarer signed self-assessment to say that they're in agreement with this evaluation, etc. You can save, approve, download this evaluation, and once you click approve, it will go through the approval process that you have configured, and it will go to shoreside. And so that's evaluations that can be done on board. For the captain and the chief engineer, they can be done shoreside as well with personal objectives added in, and the self-assessments. So once you sign in, as this is not working because I'm a captain at the moment, but once you sign in for that particular rank, you can go and do your self-assessment as well. Here I've got my crew reports. This is my IMO crew report, so I can add whether it's for arrival or departure. I'm going to do it for arrival. Going to say that we're arriving in Singapore on the 3rd. Port of arrival, Singapore. Oh, there we go. Can put in voyage number, last port of call. You can say whether you want Siemens books or passports or both included, and you can download this in PDF, docs, or CSV as well. You just download the report and you can send it on to your port that you're arriving or departing from. So that's the crewing section in onboard, and then we can move on to the payroll section. So here we've got MGA, and we've got the payroll for this vessel. We've got master's cash, snapshot and representation. If I go back into this chief officer that we were working on earlier, I can now see that I can go in and edit these. So if I wanted to edit the activities, and I can say, right, he did 3 days, and that's at $100 rate per day because that's in the CBA in the contract. I can then save that. It shows me that the activities have been successfully added. It would add up into total earnings. And likewise, if I wanted to do any more additional earnings, you just select from the drop down that you put in. Let's give this guy a Christmas gift in February because Christmas is the time of year that keeps on giving. So we can put a description in if we want. We can say we're going to give him $200 for Christmas in February. We can save that, and immediately it again adds the additional earnings to his total earnings at the top. If we wanted to put in any deductions, we could do that. Again, it's all from your drop down. If we don't want to, we can just cancel that as well. Here we can see the allotments to allot to. You can just edit the allotments and add as you see fit. So we've now allotted 5,000 to this account, this primary account. And then that will be updated here as well. So you can see the total allotments of 5,000 are here, and he's still got a closing balance. Any attachments can be added here too, to this seafarer's payroll. Again, we said about the outstanding amounts. If there was an outstanding amount for this chief officer, it would show here. And there's just a little section here that you just say to add to payroll. You've got your travel expenses. We can add an expense joining. You add that, and then you can go in and edit your expenses. Joining, you can enter the text. You can add an expense, another expense, the type of travel. Again, you can put in there. You just need to add row, do the expense. Let's say it was a train, the date that it was from, maybe last year when he joined. You can add in the description. You can add an attachment, add in the amount. It's quite an expensive train. And then you can say that, yep, that's been added. You can pay with add to payroll or master's cash from here too. Once you've done that, let's just say we add this to payroll. Yes, add. It will show that it's been added to payroll. We go to payroll and we can see his travel reimbursement of $300 is here. And again, just like shoreside, you can see the contract terms and which contract they're under. Once we have gone through and we're at the end of the month and we've allotted all of our money to the seafarers, we've checked their payrolls. Anyone that's signed off, we can submit before. We don't have to wait until the end of the month. So for this particular person, they've signed off. We can go in. We can just select him and we can submit payroll for him. So that's gone to shoreside. It will show that it's been submitted, and then they can close it from their end. So you can select all seafarers and submit payroll. If you take off the ones that you've already submitted, of course, then that will allow submit payroll for everyone. You can download everyone's statement of earnings at the same time as well. If you wanted to just print them all off and give them to them, that can be done here. And once they've all been submitted, it then passes ownership back to the shoreside where they are able to close payroll and gather the information for creating bank payments. Here we've got our master's cash, our master's general accounts. We can have different currencies. We have an opening balance, a variance, and a closing balance. Each month you have to close, as well as closing MGA and submitting payroll. Here you can see transactions. You can add multiple transactions at one given time. So we could do transaction dates type. Say we want to give cash advance out to the crew. You just start putting the cash advances that you want in. You can add attachments here to each individual one. You can say done. And basically that will then show in your transactions. And for example, this chief officer, we have just had a cash advance of $200. If we go into his payroll, we can now see that he has had a deduction from Master's Cash of $200. You can add individual transactions as well. So let's say we had cash out representation expenses. If it's a representation, you can pick whether it's charter or owner. So let's do an owner's representation type. We can say that they had a nice fancy dinner. Oh, well, maybe I will put in fancy dinner. You can add attachments like an invoice, for example, and once that's all been done, you can put done. And then you've got a representation expense. If you go into the representation tab, you can see that that $500 is there. It flows through. Let's just have a look at the other transaction types. So you can do wage payments, other expenses. If you click other expenses, those are your drop downs that you configure shoreside. So if you want the captain to see them, this is where he would see them. So we could pick garbage disposal. You could pick how much that was, say $50. You can go done. And again, that will be added to your Master's Cash. You can do in transactions. So we've got in cash to master, cash return. Again, you can sell it to the seafarer, say that they've given you back money, $200. Let's do it to this seafarer, chief officer again. Let's do 300. So it's a plus to Master's Cash. And then if we go to the payroll for this seafarer, you can see there was the cash return of 300 as an additional earning because he's given it to Master's Cash. So it's now appearing in his payroll. So you can do, cash to master, cash return, and other incomes. Once you do your other incomes, again, that's the drop down that you configure shoreside. So that's how Captain can do his transactions. He's also got a summary view, so it will show opening balances, any money that was done in cash return. You can see that that $300 is there. Again, it will split it down between cash advance, representation expenses, and the different types down here. And then a closing balance at the bottom. If you want to close a month, you just close the month. Say yes and close. It won't let you do this if you have open payrolls though. So all the payrolls for that month also have to be submitted. We've got slop chest. Here's your inventory of all of the purchases that you've got, depending on whether you are on an average or a FIFO. Depending on that, this setup will indicate that and be based upon whether it's an average pricing or FIFO. You can add products. So you can add a product, toothpaste, units that it's sold by. Just put units here. You can add that. And once you've added it, you can have a look back and it will show me that I'm out of stock on that as well. You can delete them. I see, oh, look, I've got a duplication here. I'm just going to delete that one, and that you can do. Once you've got your inventory, you can start doing transactions. So we can select the day, the type of transaction. We can sell it to the seafarer. We can give it out as representation expenses if we need to do the odd cigarette box. Transferred out or lost, and we can have that we've purchased it in. Say we've gone to a cheap port and we've got a big slop chest purchase in. We do our purchased in. You can do transferred in, or that you've suddenly found a box of whiskey, which would be nice. So you can sell it to the seafarer. You can pick your seafarer. Let's do our chief officer. You can continue and we can say, right, he had 2 bottles of beer, he had 4 packs of cigarettes, and he had some spicy chips. Let's say he had 15 of those. You can review it. It will show you what they've had, add transaction. It will say that it's successful. If you go into the transactions, it will show you that those transactions have taken place. And then if we go to the payroll of this chief officer, you can also see in his deductions, it's labelled out which slop chest items and the total amounts of those. You can search for product names in your inventory as well. And then the transactions will all show here. And again, you can go through. You can edit and delete as you see fit. Once you've edited or deleted it, say, for example, we delete this one. No, we've deleted that transaction. If we then go back into the payroll for this seafarer, it will be deleted from his deductions as well. See, he's only got the cigarettes and spicy chips now. The beer has gone. And that's slop chest. It will give you your opening balance, your total in, totals out, and then your closing balance each month. Each month, this closing balance will move forward. So the closing balance for February will be the opening balance for March. And here you've got just your representation that flows through from master's cash. So that's just representation. And that's payroll, really. Once everything has been submitted and sent to the office at the end of the month and you've closed your MGA, you start all over again for the next month. And that's payroll on board. So I'm now going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to try and use modern technology to log in on my app and show you what the Crew app looks like. Here's hoping that this works. It's always a touch and go situation. Right, let me log in first. Okay, I'm successfully signed in. And now let's try and share my screen. And let me join the demo. Okay, share screen. Okay, how's that worked? Yes, here we go. Check me out. Right, so this is my welcome page. I can see my next assignment is correctly on the Ben Nevis. I'm joining in Singapore. I have a planned joining date of the 3rd of April, which we know, and that starts in 34 days, it's telling me. Here I can see my upcoming travel. I can see that my flight is booked for Friday the 3rd of April. And those are my details, London Heathrow to Singapore. And here I can download my e-ticket by pressing that big blue button, and those e-tickets will be downloaded to my phone. Here in my welcome page, I can see any action that is required, and I can see that my document for ship security officer is missing. If I wanted to upload that, I would just click on the document, and there's a slight lag for it appearing on screen from when I'm doing it on my phone, but let's just wait for it to, yep, there we go. So you can click on the plus browse, you can go to select the country, etc. Just put in the details of what that's what that document's for. Whether it's shore-based, it will show you. You can put in your completion date. Let's say we completed it on the 1st of Feb. Okay, and then I can just upload it and save it. So let it get off the calendar first. Yep, so I can just click on the browse, choose from library, take photo or select file. Once that has been done, I can then save that document there, but it will tell me to please upload a scan. So once I've uploaded a scan and I've saved it, that will be uploaded and it will go straight to the shoreside as an unverified document that would need to be verified. An on-radar task is created, and that will alert shoreside that this document needs to be verified. So that's my welcome screen. If I click on the 3 lines up here, I can see my details. This is my basic information, my status and availability. I can edit my availability, confirmed availability date, and my willing to work in a war zone. I have my contact information that I can edit. If I've moved address, I can put that up here. My bank accounts, again, the same. It will show me my bank accounts that I've got, which was my e-wallet. If I want to add a bank account here, an on-radar task is auto-generated for someone to be able to verify the details of those bank details. I can add a bank account or an e-wallet here. I've got my background, my family members, my next of kin and physical as well. I can also edit my photo if required, choose from library, take photo, remove current picture. And I've got my documents tab here. Again, it will show any documents that are expired or anything that needs attention. Because this medical is not required, it doesn't flag it up too much, as in it doesn't flag it up on my homepage for action required. But it would do if it was a required document that's configured in the system. So I've got all my passports here. I can go in, check them. I can download the document as well from here. I can add them and update them as I see fit. Got the same sort of tab for training. So here again is my training document that's missing. You can go in, take, upload, etc. from here as well. I've got my contracts. So at the top here, it's showing me my next assignment. But underneath all of that is my previous experience. So you can see that I've obviously been a back-to-back captain on the Ben Nevis. And then I've got my previous experience on the Rocky Balboa and the Adrian Balboa. So that's my contracts. I've got my evaluations. This is not actively in the app at the moment, but it's being worked on by the team. And this is where seafarers will be able to see all of their past evaluations. Statements of earnings. This is from the payroll, so I can look at all of my previous statement of earnings. Earnings in, deductions and payments out. And then I've got on here, this is my 90POE app, so you can see hours of work and rest. This is not something that is live at the making of this demo, but the team are working on it. And this will be implemented soon into the app as well as shoreside and onboard. Here I've got my notifications. So these are all the things that have been sent to me on the app that I can acknowledge and read. And then you've just got your settings and your sign out. If I go back to my welcome screen and click on to my next assignment, I can here see a timeline of events. So I can see when I'm planned, when my planned leaving date is, when it gets populated. This is on a timeline basis for assignments can be added into the crew app whenever you want them to be seen by the crew. So if it's you only want assignments to be seen 10 days before they're joining, then that can be configured too. Here we've got some vessel information. So you can see you've got contact vessel details, you've got telephone number and an email, and then also you can see the crew list of who is on board and who is joining as well. And then underneath, in the assignments is, again, your travel, and you're able to download your travel ticket, your joining port, and then the crew list as well. And that is the crew app. So I'm just going to go in and stop sharing my screen. There we go. And that is the conclusion of my demo. Thank you all. Thanks very much.